As I travel around the country conducting leadership training, I frequently get asked intriguing questions that have universal impact. Allow me to share one of these questions with you. I have a hard time finding good employees to replace the ones who seem unmotivated. How do I reach or light a fire under my current employees so that I can avoid losing good people or the employees who show potential? This is my response to that CEO. Start by seeing motivation as something both within your control and outside of your control. You cannot motivate anyone. You can, however, only create a culture where the employee is inspired to do his or her best. Motivation is up to the employee because it is like an internal light switch. You can't see it, but you can tell when it is turned on or when it is off. You also have your own internal light switch that you have difficulty turning on. You occasionally find yourself unmotivated, yet cannot figure out why. The workplace motivation issue is more about you than it is about them, the employees. Today's job candidate defines their job not in terms of the duties. They see a job as an opportunity to grow within a desirable and nurturing corporate culture. McKinsey & Company studied 77 American firms and found that the number 1 and the number 2 criterions for great employers are values first and great culture second. Having exciting challenges was the third highest criteria of today's job seeker. The same study found that a great job is defined first by freedom and autonomy, and secondly by exciting challenges. I now offer you 5 solutions that serve to inspire your human assets. Please take these actions before your best employees leave for greener pastures. It costs almost nothing to retain an employee, while it costs you between 3 and 5 times their annual compensation to replace an experienced employee. My first suggestion, create a clear definition of your cultural ideals. These ideals need to be so explicit that every employee is hyper-aware of their existence. Make them available for everyone. Solicit specific feedback from anyone who notices when people are not living up to those ideals so that you can address the causes. My second suggestion is to revisit the firm's mission with employees on a regular basis. Recently, I have noticed that in nearly every company I consult with, employees are unable to articulate the company's mission, and even worse, cannot describe how this great mission reflects in their job responsibilities. When people have a sense of purpose and it fulfills them, they work harder and they stay on the job longer. Number 3 suggestion, invest in regular and ongoing dialogues with all employees. This can be easily accomplished with the use of blogs and survey tools available on the internet. Companies that engage in this practice generate a wealth of insights on what is working and what is not working. They also experience low turnover and benefit from high levels of trust. We suggest to our clients that they conduct a company-wide survey at least 2 times a year. Suggestion 4 is to recognize that each generational group has different and distinct values that define them. So please get to know each employee as an individual and especially get to know the generation he or she is shaped by. Each generation in your workplace has its disparate needs and set of values that define what they seek in their work. In order to get the best from your employees, you must have in your cultural practices those things that serve to meet those needs. When an employee's personal values coincide with the company's, the employee feels good about the work that they do and they stay loyal. However, when individual and corporate values clash, the employee is tempted to do the bare minimum and will leave when an opportunity arises. Suggestion 5 is to revitalize your performance evaluation process. You need to rethink what an evaluation process is all about. I want you to see your performance review program as something not done once a year, but as a day-to-day mechanism for fostering open communication with each and every employee. By enhancing how you provide feedback and engaging in ongoing two-way conversation about work issues, when the formal performance review is actually done, there are few surprises and even less hurt feelings. Best of all, your managers and supervisors will no longer avoid doing that dreaded task of giving performance reviews. Here's a story. In a recent leadership session, I met Hugh. He is a financial executive in a large corporation, which is a major employer in the city I visited. Hugh complained that his team had terrible communications, and he could not understand why. After he was promoted to the position, he stopped all face-to-face meetings because he thought they were a waste of time, and he preferred email to communicate with his team. Hugh grew up as a latchkey child who did everything on his own and therefore preferred working alone and dealing with technology rather than people. I surmised that he was treating his employees like they were of his generation, the Xers. However, the people he supervised were mostly baby boomers. Hugh quickly realized through my coaching that his employees had a different set of values, and they needed to meet with him and each other regularly. Hugh reinstated meetings as a way of communication and inspiration to all his employees. This solved much of his team's communication and morale problems. To remind you, you cannot motivate employees, but you can create an environment where employees want to stay. You can also use high road leadership practices that communicate to your employees that you need them and you care about them. When you employ these 5 strategies, you will find that you retain the people that will do their best for you. I encourage you to share this information with your colleagues and send me your questions about critical topics of leadership and employee morale.